Welcome to Not in a Huff with Jackson Huff, where we interview newsmakers, storytellers, and all-around interesting people. Sit back, relax, unless you're driving, and enjoy the show. Here's Jackson.
Hello. I am Jackson Huff. This is Not in a Huff. Thanks for joining me. As always, I appreciate it. This week, I am interviewing Cathy Nesbitt. Now, this is another interesting interview where, I get approached by people doing interesting things, and obviously that's what this podcast is about. But this one kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop, just because she's got so many different interesting kind of things in the works. So just to kind of run through them, she is someone who sells and promotes worm composting. She promotes sprouting, which is basically growing beans. This for her is mung beans, and then also she is a laughter yoga coach. All of those things I knew absolutely nothing about before speaking with her. Laughter yoga, what exactly is that? What is composting with worms in the home? Just interesting things. I try to bring people on that kind of have interesting professions. The goal is to teach you about things, and if it's something you're interested in, maybe you look further into it. It's not a place for an infomercial, and that's not what we did here. We learned a lot about, I guess, the world of being a worm farmer, the world of growing beans that grow in a day, and then also the world of laughter yoga, which is a relatively new form of yoga. I do want to kind of point out that she's a practicing laughter yoga coach, so you're going to see from the very beginning that she laughs a lot. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's kind of it's I don't know. It was almost strange to me at first, just because you're not used to people laughing as much as she does, and you'll see that she does laugh quite a bit, and it's kind of a laugh where you can see that she is practicing her laughter yoga, if that makes sense. You'll see that it's kind of the same laugh each time, rather than just kind of a random type thing. But I do want to point that out, because I guarantee, in this first 15 minutes of the interview where we haven't started talking about laughter yoga, but she's already doing it, you're going to think, this lady laughs a lot. So do know that. It was a really interesting conversation. I really enjoyed learning about these three very different topics. Without further ado, here is my interview with Cathy Nesbitt. I am here today with Cathy Nesbitt. Cathy, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jackson.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of different things to cover. I don't even know exactly where we should start. When I was kind of researching you and some of your different web pages, you kind of dabble in a lot of different things. But before I kind of ask you specific questions, just tell us a little bit about yourself, I guess, in your own words.
Yeah, so I grew up in Toronto, Canada's largest city. And then when I moved out of the city, I realized I'm a small town girl. And I started a worm composting business back in 2002 because there was a big need. Our landfill closed and we started shipping garbage out of the country to the US. Sorry.
Is that right? Well, that's something. So let's kind of talk a little bit, about what you did because of that, because I know that you have a kind of a composting business, if you will, but kind of in a very different vein than probably most people are thinking. So talk a little bit about your contribution to composting.
Yeah, so what I'm promoting is indoor composting with worms. And it's, not everybody wants to have worms in the house. I didn't know. Again, Toronto, 6 million people, half live in condos or townhouses without space to do outdoor composting. So vermicomposting is ideally indoor composting, can be done outside. I can talk about that later, but indoor composting. So if you live in an apartment or, a townhouse, whatever, it's same idea as outdoor composting, but done with worms. There's a container and it's your food scraps and paper. And then the worms turn that into a soil amendment fertilizer that you can add back into your garden.
So is it a certain type of worm? I just want to kind of hear a little bit more about exactly what this is, because I don't think people can, just go in their backyard, grab some worms and get to work.
Yes, thank you. Good. So there's thousands of types of worms, only 4 that have been identified for as ideal for vermicomposting. And so they are red wigglers, that's the one I have, European night crawlers, African night crawlers, and perionyx, which is a tropical worm. And we're looking for surface dwellers. So the worms that people generally fish with are vertical feeders, so the Canadian nightcrawler or dew worms. And so they have a different diet. They're just, a different type of worm.
Gotcha. So what exactly, you said that it has to be in, or not, it doesn't have to be, but you kind of specialize in indoor composting. So what does that look like? Just because I know, I know people that do composting outside, and it doesn't necessarily always come with the most pleasant smell. So how do you kind of you negate that if it's indoors?
Wonderful, thank you. So composting done correctly is aerobic process, meaning with oxygen. Outside it doesn't smell. Is what I kind of want to say is, I sound so smart when I say aerobic, anaerobic. I got other big words, folks. Stay tuned. So aerobic just means, like aerobic exercise with oxygen. Anaerobic means without oxygen. So it smells like rotting food or, smelly compost. So I think for indoor composting, that it is aerobic is a beautiful thing, because it's like a built-in mechanism. We breathe oxygen. The worms also breathe oxygen. So if it smells bad, that oxygen has now been converted into gas, methane. We can't breathe gas, and neither can the worms.
Yeah. So how much of your waste have you been able to convert to this method? I know that obviously there's some things that worms won't eat. So how much of it you think you now can compost?
Yeah, so let me talk about what goes in and what stays out. So in an indoor composting worm bin, it's all your kind of fruit and vegetable peels, coffee, tea, pasta, rice, cooked pasta and rice, beans, grains, plant clip, like a whole bunch of stuff can go in. Here's what stays out of food scraps: no meat, no dairy, no sauce, no seasonings. That's kind of your basic guide of what stays out. It's a shorter list. It's kind of all your wet stuff, I guess, maybe is a good way to say, for your food scraps. And then your paper, we're worried about identity theft. Imagine putting your paper shreds, like sending your MasterCard or your credit card bills through your paper shredder, and then taking those shreds. We know we all watch CSI. You can piece those back together if you're determined. So if you feed those shreds to a worm bin, ta-da, no one's piecing that back together once it comes out.
The worms don't do a lot of identity theft, I guess.
Nope, they convert it all into, soil, and it's plant food, what comes out of the butt end of a worm.
And how long does it take to, I guess, compost? Let's say that you're, a week's worth of normal garbage. How long does that take to compost into that plant food?
So let me give you a formula. It depends on how many worms you have. So I'm gonna say, if you have like just a regular bin, I have a beautiful system. But if somebody, the do-it-yourselfers, a Rubbermaid tote would be fine. Add your shredded paper in there, and if you have a pound of worms, just for easy math, half a pound would be fine too. 800 to 1,000 red wigglers in a pound. They're a small species. 5 hearts each, 4,000 to 5,000 hearts in a pound of worms. That's a lot of love. Okay, so a pound of worms, they eat about half their weight per day in food scraps. So if you had a pound of worms, half a pound per day of food, or 3 to 4 pounds per week. So it's substantial. You may create more than that. So maybe you need more worms, or only you feed them that amount and wait until they increase in number, and then you can increase gradually what you put in. It's really a system, it's not like like a garburator where you just put the stuff in and turn the switch and it disappears. It's a process. And you end up with this beautiful, I talked about our landfill closing and shipping garbage. I thought waste management was the reason I wanted to do this. I quickly realized that it was the black gold that the worms create. Waste management maybe is the byproduct, not the black gold. So I say worms are going to play an ever-increasing role in waste management, soil production, and therefore food security.
Yeah, and that's kind of leads into the next question. You've kind of already answered half of it, but if it's not enough, to people to want to quit sending as many things to the landfill, what are some of those other benefits of composting? Because it is more of a process than obviously just tossing something in the trash and then putting it in the the trash truck. So give us all those benefits outside of I guess just being a good person that you might want to compost.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Well put. I think that's fantastic. Why would you want to do this? We're in this cuckoo time right now, pandemic and everything. And other issues have been put on the back burner. There's more than just this one thing going on in the world. And climate change, whatever you think of it, it is real in my opinion. And we all eat. We all create food waste. So why not? Instead of, why do it? Here's a few really good reasons. It costs a lot of money to haul it around, to have the magic truck come and take it away. Where's away? There is no away. We talk about the environment as if it's somewhere, some special room or something. We are the environment. This is it. Like I'm breathing it. I'm in the environment. You're in the environment. We're in different locations, but we're one connected. Like we're breathing the same air. Eventually I'm going to get particles from you. Maybe not. I don't know. Things blow around and it's just one. So one big reason is it doesn't make sense to haul it around. What if we all managed our scraps and then we turn it into beautiful soil and then we can grow some food? Like people are like, oh, I don't want to grow my own food. I can go to the grocery store. Here's some fun facts. In Canada, we import 60% of our food. We have winter. We can't grow food year round, not without a greenhouse and, using high, electricity to heat or coming up with innovative methods. I really believe that we're in a super exciting time because you can't have solution without crisis. You can't have solution without problem. So we got lots of problems. There's lots of opportunities for people to be creative. Come on, folks.
There you go. So let's kind of move into one of your other ventures and kind of tie it together. You're talking about what you can put in your compost and what you can't. What about, let's say you don't eat all of your Cathy sprouts, so you're able to put that in the compost?
Absolutely. Now, if your sprouts still have their root on them, they may start to grow in your beautiful composter, right? Because you've got nutrient-rich soil. So, I'll use potato peels as my example. Have you ever had a bag of potatoes that started to grow and they have the eyes on them? Right? That's the seed. So if you put that in your potato peels that have eyes on them in your composter, they may start to grow. If something is growing, it's not decomposing, right? So, so the sprouts. So if you add sprouts into the worm bin, they may start to grow. Yes, but you could add them for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about those sprouts. If I understand correctly, I think that they're sprouts off of mung beans, right?
Correct.
So what got you interested in that? That my overall theme with all of this is just going to be, I think at the end, maybe you'll have to go into a little bit more detail, but what made you want to do all these things? But let's talk about sprouts.
So in 2002, when I started my worm business, I realized very quickly that I needed to exhibit. So my very first place where I had a table and displaying with my worms, I met a gentleman who designed the sprouter that I sell and have used for 19 years now. And I knew nothing about sprouts and sprouting. And I will talk about what it is in a moment. And this thing was it looks like a little spaceship. It's like a plastic it's plastic, it's light, it's got a stainless steel mesh. So it looks like a little spaceship, size of a dinner plate. Okay. And it was flying off the shelf, like literally it looks like a spaceship, and everyone was buying them. And I was like, what is that thing? And why are they buying that? And they're not buying my worms. Probably not in that tone. And this man, the designer of the super simple sprouter is a ballroom dancer. He was 72 at the time. Anyway, very healthy, still working, right? How wonderful. And I'm a type of person who doesn't need to know why something. I don't need to know why something works. I'm like, oh, look at you. What are you doing? I want it. I want what you've got. So he said, it's a sprout grower, and let me tell you about the sprouts. So they're hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. Let me break down those fancy words. Hydrating. We know when, they're juicy. So as soon as we're thirsty, we're already getting dehydrated. These sprouts they're juicy. So great. Hydrating, alkalizing. So, it's on the pH scale. Either it's something's acidic or it's alkaline. So sprouts are alkalizing food, and many diseases take place in an acidic body, like cancers require a more acidic body. So this helps balance our pH. Beautiful. Hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative. So I'll use Alzheimer's. I know you have trouble with that word. Alzheimer's is a degenerative disease. Sprouts are regenerative, not that you can grow back your memories, but imagine we're regenerating our cells. How beautiful. Biogenic. So I have tons of energy. I've been eating biogenic food, which means life force giving. When we eat live food, we get energy. So beautiful. And up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. I think for me, that's the most important piece, because we need the enzymes to process the food when we're eating. So, things go in the right place and whatever. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a nutritionist. I just know how I feel from doing these simple things. So Tony said to me, I was like, wow, that sounds so great. I want to do it. So he said, if you're going to do this, start your day with 2 tablespoons of sprouted mung beans, first thing for the enzyme. So I was like, all right. And I've been doing that for 19 years. About 10 years in, 2012, I think it was, I kept seeing him at all these events. He was exhibiting, I was exhibiting. And he said, hey, why don't you sell this sprouter with your worm business? And I was like, oh my gosh, why don't I? That makes I love it. And so since 2012, I've been selling that sprouter with my worms. So that's why the worms and the sprouts, that's why they go together. But it's, when we get to my next piece, the laughter, you'll see all 3 of these things are just about living a wonderful, simple life, sustainable, being good to the planet. When we do good, we feel good.
No, that's huge for sure. Yeah. And I guess the question would be just the natural question with these sprouts is the taste. Obviously the only sprouts I know are, like, I was going to say bean sprouts. I don't even really know what beans they are, but that are in a lot of different like Asian food. But what's the comparability to maybe those type of sprouts to these mung beans?
Bean sprouts are mung beans.
They are.
Yay! So you've had them, but they're just grown. So they're the white ones, the white beans that are long. So they just are grown a different way. So the mung beans, a sprout, it's when the cedar beans just starts to germinate. So the bean swells, cracks open, and then the root comes out. Then it's ready. That's when it's most nutritious.
I got you. So once it's actually grown a little bit more, it's not as nutritious, huh?
It starts losing nutrients, right? It's like, oh, I don't need this, I don't need that. And it starts to grow into a full grown thing.
Now, the only thing I know about mung beans, you've probably either heard this a bunch or maybe not. I don't know. But, in The Office, they talk about mung beans. Have you ever seen The Office?
I have, but I didn't hear them talk about mung beans. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, one of the characters, Creed, he is growing mung beans in his drawer, and everyone's talking about how much it stinks. So does it stink to grow it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay, so back to the worms and back to how we need to live, aerobic versus anaerobic. If it stinks, it's because there's not enough oxygen. So now they're starting to rot. And that's why, having a system for anything maybe is the way to go. You can do do-it-yourselfers, you can do sprouting in a jar, add some seeds in, soak them, add some water and all of that. The challenge is in a jar, when you add the seeds in, they start to grow. And if you've added too many seeds, they grow too big. There's no oxygen getting in, so they start to rot rather than growing, and then they smell. If they smell bad, just get rid of them. Like, we don't want to put that in our body. And you're dealing with seeds. So I would say get good quality seeds, organic if possible. It's for your health. The cost difference in seed form is nominal, for conventional or organic seeds.
Yeah. Well, you may not have seen the episode, but it does kind of promote your business, because he says it smells awful in here, but it's extremely nutritious is what he says. So
I'm going to look it up.
You'll have to. Yeah. He grows them on a wet paper towel inside of a drawer. So I'm sure that's not where you're getting the most air. So that's probably his problem. But yeah. So how can people, obviously you may have a way that you get these things directly from you, but you can talk about that, or how can people get a hold of mung beans? Just because I don't know exactly. I can't say that I've seen those just on the shelf somewhere, but maybe I'm just not looking for them.
Yeah, not yet. You haven't. Wait till you go. You're going to be like, there they are. There. Oh my gosh, mung beans. There they are again.
There you go.
So most I would say health food stores, like Whole Foods for sure. Like larger grocery stores now are starting to carry the sprouting beans. So it's not just mung beans, though. That's my kind of health plan. But you can sprout chickpeas, lentils, like the garbanzos, lentils, fenugreek, radish, the peas. Oh, it's unlimited what you can sprout. And by sprouting it, so I wanted to dispel a myth. People talk about, beans are good for you. And there's an old song from school about beans, right? Mm-hmm. So seeds and beans have a coating on them called phytic acid, PHY, and that's a protection for the seed or the bean, so it can go on surviving if it gets eaten by an animal like a bird or something. And then as it passes through that animal, it can still carry on its way and grow. If we eat those seeds or beans, like we just cook them without soaking them or sprouting them, that coating is still on them. As soon as we sprout them, that coating has been removed. And it's that phytic acid, like beans are good for us, but phytic acid is not. So we eat that phytic acid and our body's like, oh, beans are good. It has protein, vitamins, all that stuff. And the phytic acid. So we get bloated. We might get gas or whatever.
So what made you pick mung beans? Just because, that's what he was doing? Or is this probably the best bean? You talked about how there's other ones that people can do, but is mung beans probably the most beneficial?
Beautiful question. They all offer different properties. Mung beans I call them my health plan, because they grow. It's the heat and humidity, how this wonderful system works. They grow in about 24 to 48 hours. So they're the fastest. They're not necessarily the most nutritious, but they are delicious. They're neutral flavor, they're juicy, and they're fast. So sprouts are the original fast food. And I say, eat as much as you want. Oh, wait a minute, you can't. They're full of fiber, so you get nutrient rich. So imagine, Jax, I'm going to give me your address after. I'll send you one, because this is something I really want people to do this every day, like Tony has been doing, like I've been doing. Like I'm super healthy. I have no health issues, take no prescription drugs, no multivitamin, high energy. I'm 58. So, it's a beautiful thing. And I think when you feel good, you want to do good. And, you just connect on a deeper level. You're not worried about health issues. That's something you don't even have to think about. Same with, the garbage. You don't have to worry about, oh, what am I going to do with all this stuff? You just put it in your composter and forget about it. You don't have to, what day's garbage day? Who cares? You've already put out the smelly garbage. It's been managed, and eat sprouts. And then laugh. Are we finished with sprouts? Because I'd like to move on to laughter.
Yeah, we can be for sure. And that's, so let me just kind of address that right now, because, I've been doing this long enough. A lot of times when people, laugh a lot during our conversation, it normally means that they're nervous, like, they're nervous to have the interview. So a lot of times we slow down. I talk a little bit about that. I cut it out. We didn't do that this time because that's kind of part of your thing as well. So that's why we've kind of, I'm sure the listeners probably thought, man, she's a happy person. She laughs a lot, but I think you're going to tell us a little bit about why that's the case now.
Yay. Beautiful. Yes. Don't cut out my laughs. It's my brand.
There you go.
I'm just doing my laughter yoga. So I don't know if I said my working title at the beginning, Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen. So it's all the things that we just talked about, simple solutions for today's challenges, worms for amending the soul, sprouts for eating, and laughter for overall health and wellness. So it's laughter yoga, which is really fun because when people hear yoga, they go, oh, I don't know yoga. I don't know. I don't like. Good. It's just laughing. Ever heard that laughter is the best medicine?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. So I say, and it is, everybody's heard that. And it's the truth. It's so beautiful. I say, have you had your daily dose? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the love drugs, versus cortisol. When we're stressed, we secrete cortisol. When we're laughing, we secrete those other ones. When we're connecting and feeling good, when we're hugging, when we're doing things that we like to do, we're secreting all those feel good hormones and chemicals. We're in charge of our own pharma. It's so beautiful.
So go into a little bit further detail. I don't even really know exactly where to go with the laughter yoga, what it means. I will tell you, just in trying to research, a little bit about you, I've watched some of your, I forget what day. You've got a certain day that you make videos. So I've watched some of those and some of your laughter routines, your yoga kind of exercises. So just tell people about that, because I feel like people are like, what in the world? What are we even talking about here?
Yes, thank you. Every Friday, new little short video. It's their Fab Fun Friday videos. Fun. Thank you. Yes. So laughter yoga it's serious, folks. It's laughter, but it's serious. Started in 1995 by a medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria, and his goal is world peace through laughter. How beautiful. So this 26 years old, it's fairly new, right? I mean, compared to yoga, which is thousands of years old, this is just another branch. And the yoga part is the breath, the practice of deep diaphragmatic breathing. Breath is our life. So this is just a really fun way for us to raise our vibration, connect, feel better, and do good for our body. So, and the more I laugh and the more I research this, the more I realize, wow, this may be the magic bullet. It's a universal language, laughter. Everybody laughs. We might not understand each other like talking the same words if we're from another country or whatever, or if we've lost our language, if we have some form of dementia, right? So, or if we have some developmental disability or challenge, right? We might not comprehend when people tell jokes or whatever. So hallelujah, laughter yoga is not about jokes or comedy. It is intentional laughter exercises designed to make us feel good, and we do. So there are clubs around the world, laughter clubs. So I have a free club on Tuesday, and I would welcome everybody. Everybody's welcome. It's on Zoom, 30 minutes. It's 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, free. So just come and check it out. As a laughter yoga teacher, laughter goes with everything. So laughter yoga, it's not about doing poses. It's not fancy pants or poses. It's just laughing. And there's clapping and chanting. So when we're clapping palm to palm to activate the meridians. And adults need this. Children don't need it. They're just laughing. They're having fun. They're living their life without stress. Maybe not so much today, but before they used to. BC, they used to do that. Haha, not funny, right? We need laughter yoga more than ever right now because we have this mental health tsunami. It's a crisis. All the things that I'm offering are simple ways that people can feel better. And I'm encouraging everybody, like you might not want worms in your house. You may not want to eat sprouts. I would encourage everybody to connect through laughter for themselves, for their family. Again, like the other things I've offered, the more we laugh, the more we feel better, the more we connect. When we change people around us. It's vibration. That's it.
No, for sure. Yeah, I spoke with when we're talking about that the need for something like this right now. I completely agree. At the beginning of this pandemic, I was talking to someone who does suffer from serious mental health issues. One of my first interviews, he was a former Tonight Show writer and now is the kind of the anti-suicide comedian, which is another kind of strange combo, just like your combo here. But he was talking about how he's very worried, with the pandemic and he's not worried about the things that you'd think that he would be. The people who have mental health issues that, they're working with a doctor, they know what's going on, they know how to manage this. This is just a new wrench in the plan, to have this pandemic. But he's not worried about those. The ones he's worried about is the people who've lived their lives happy, they're not having any issues, and all of a sudden, they haven't seen their family in a long time, or they're, in lockdown, things like that. The people who, and then they start feeling depressed and they're like, what is this? I don't know what's going on. I'm not used to this. Those are the people that he's worried about because they haven't learned coping mechanisms and exactly how to handle it. And, I think what you're talking about is a huge thing that can probably help.
Laughter is the fastest happiness hack. And again, it's not jokes or comedy. I agree. Oh my gosh, that's a great description how he framed that, because people that were just going along, skipping along, they were happy, having a good life, going to work, meeting their peers and whatever, just having a good life. And now shut down, living on your own. You think about, the mental health crisis was here before. It's not new. We just have to look at it because many more people are affected, and the ones that were suffering already are suffering even more now. Now they're even further down the totem pole.
So, if someone's listening to this and thinking, everyone knows that, laughing feels good and people, you enjoy being happy. I don't think that's a hard thing, but someone's listening to this and thinking, man, maybe I'll go to this 9 a.m. thing, but what in the world are we going to do? I'm really confused. Just tell us a little bit about what a laughing exercise is. I've seen a little bit of it on your fun Fridays. I already can't get it down. I know there's several F words, but your fun Fridays, but tell us exactly what some of these exercises are.
Thank you. Yes, beautiful. So when people come, I've got a regular following now. It's on Zoom. So of course, when more people come, we get smaller and smaller. And I do suggest that people, unless they want to see the movements that I'm doing, I suggest they have it on gallery view so we can look at each other. It's about making eye contact. As the leader, it is a cardiovascular. I'll give you some statistics in a moment about how great it is for our beautiful body. You start as the laughter leader, you start with some gentle warm up, some deep breathing, maybe just some stretches, raising your arms up, rotating your arms around. And as the leader, I just guide people just follow along. And then, as I said, there's clapping and chanting. So you clap, it's a rhythm, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hear the words, ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Every time we say ho and ha, we're engaging our diaphragm. So that just gets us into our body. The clapping gets us out of our head. So we're not thinking, oh, this is weird. I encourage people to come and check it out more than once, because the first time will be weird. Where you come and you're like, what is happening here? What is this all about? I'm uncomfortable. I do encourage people to have their camera on. If somebody is feeling so sad or depressed or anxious or frustrated, or they just don't want to have their camera on, fair enough. Don't, just come and play. No pressure, really. Of course, we can't see you then, but come and play anyway. Usually people have their mics off. Just some will have it on, but sometimes it gets too noisy with the laughter. So they would you really are laughing in your own space, but with a group. And it really is, we were wondering if it was going to work, but laughter yogis are primed for this. Okay, so there's deep breathing, gentle movement, maybe a song or two. Some laughter yoga people, I do. I usually will put on a song, Happy or Uptown Funk, or a song of my choosing. Then we just move around. Again, if you don't want to be on camera, don't. It's not recorded. None of my sessions are recorded. So people can come and just play and know that, I'm not recording it. I don't know what's happening in the big scheme of things.
Right.
And then once we're all connected, it's about, mine is 30 seconds, 30 minutes duration. I add in all kinds of healing modalities. I've been doing all kinds of wonderful work during this cuckoo time on how to boost my immune system and feel better. And I know it's about energy, so I want to keep my energy high. So I've incorporated brain gym and tapping, EFT, and just all kinds of healing modalities. I attend all these summits. Some people are flooded with negative stuff in social media. Not me. I get all this positive stuff, and there's so many summits. I'm like, how do I do all this stuff? And I say to people, I go to all those summits, so you don't have to. I'll come and I bring the cliff notes for you. So here's what you need to know about that 5-day summit I just attended, in such a way that is understandable. I really feel like, I really believe that everyone's put on earth for something. And I thought I was put here for worms, to educate about the wonder of worms. And then I realized, doing this laughter thing during this cuckoo time, I'm being called all over the place to do laughter gigs, for corporate, for special needs, for long-term care, for at schools. And it's, because we have this Zoom technology, thank goodness, I'm able to connect everywhere and bring this magic medicine. And that's my superpower, Jackson, is connecting with people and then sharing these simple ways. I really want to be out of business. I really don't want to be needed. I would really love it if there was a worm bin everywhere. So, nobody needs to get worms. It's going to be like that sourdough thing. Everybody just will, you need worms, here you go. And you'll just get a bit, and then they breed more than rabbits. So you don't have to worry, just patience. Just nurture them, sprouts, growing your sprouts, and you don't have to worry. We just have to buy seeds. That's fine. And then the laughter, we're just all connected. We don't need to go to a club. We don't need to go and learn training, because we just remember how fun it is to laugh. And it is the oxygen. So here, I said I would give you some statistics. We can live without food and water for a few days. We'd be grumpy and uncomfortable. We could do it. We can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. Laughter encourages us. I used to say forces up, but that sounds aggressive. Laughter encourages us to breathe in, right? You can't just ha, 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 because you're expelling. You have to and take that deep breath, right? You're like, oh my gosh, right? Everybody remembers having those. It's rarer and it's less and less as adults. As we age, life becomes serious. And we think, how can I possibly laugh at this current situation? How can I? We must laugh. We're laughing because of. If we're not, we're crying in the corner. We're so stressed, we can't function. And our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body. When we're stressed, we're not breathing. So laughter, again, forces us to oxygenate our beautiful body. Here's a great demonstration. Here we go. Have you ever lost your keys and you're flapping around? You're like, oh, my keys? I gotta go. I'm gonna be late. Maybe again, BC. Yeah. So as long as you're flapping around, right? You're stressed. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late. Blah, blah, do all that, all those thoughts. So here's a gift. I can't stop you from losing something. Sorry about that. But here's a tip. Next time it happens, just stop, take a deep breath, laugh it off, apologize to everyone that you just yelled at. And then you'll find, oh my gosh, my keys are they're right there on the hook. Because when we're stressed, we kind of get tunnel vision. We can't really see properly. We're not totally there.
No, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I lose my keys a little bit more often than I want to, but yeah, it's a huge thing. Just when you get so stressed out, I know even with me in that exact example, I'll look for a while and I'll just be so stressed out about it that I know, okay, I'm just going to stop looking. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to relax for a couple of minutes and then I'll probably find them because right now I'm too worked up. I'm not going to find anything. So no, that makes a lot of sense for sure. I like that. So I guess the question I would have for you too is how much of this laughter yoga is, an exercise where, like you're spending time actually purposely doing it, and how much of it is just incorporating it in your life? Because I may be completely wrong, but I feel like you've kind of incorporated it into life. I don't know whether you would necessarily laugh as much as you do even in this interview if it wasn't something you were incorporating a little bit, purposely.
It's part of my life now. It's amazing. Laughter yoga has given me permission. What happened, in oh gosh, I think it was 2012 or something. 2012 or 2013. One more person said, ooh, worms in the house. And I was just like, how am I going to do this? This is hard. Why am I putting all this pressure on myself to do this? I could just get a job. Oh, and then I was introduced to laughter yoga, and I realized I believe that the laughter saved me to stay in my worm business, because now I think the worms are really important. I didn't want to doff that mission. I really think it is important, and I love it. I really love sharing that mission, and I love that moment when people are like, ooh, and then they're like, oh, when they get it, when the light goes on, how important these worms are. Like we see worms and we're like, worms, gross. But then when it's like, wow, they have 5 hearts each, they turn garbage into gold. They've been around since the dinosaur. So they're survivors. They're here for a reason. And once we get that message, then it turns around. Now I realize, okay, so the laughter, now I bring the laughter. And a lot of people now know me as the laughing lady. And I used to be called the worm lady. And I was like, oh, now I've kind of lost my identity. And it's like, no, I haven't, because now I make them laugh, get them to like me. And then I say, I have worms too, and you can as well. And they can hear the message. Think about, I have a psychology degree, and I think I have that. You get a degree and you never work in that field. I think I have a psych degree because it really has helped me understand why people are afraid of worms. I think a lot of people have been traumatized in childhood during, by a sibling or in the schoolyard after a rain, or, somewhere somebody, put a worm, would chase them with a worm or something with a worm. If you are afraid of something, you're not having it in your house. You're not looking at that article. You're not reading that article, looking at that video, right? Even though I've had tons of media, you haven't seen anything that I've done because it's like worms. Nope.
Yeah. And just the I guess kind of, you talked about your psychology degree. My business degree side of me, I guess, is ask this more direct question. Obviously I can figure out with worms, you're selling those composting type things, and with the beans and the domes, those selling, how are you monetizing the laughter yoga?
Oh, thank you. Great question. I'm getting hired. People are paying for my services to come in and do. So for corporate, I do, I'll come in and do like a lunch and learn if that's all you want, just a teaser. I'll come in and do a half day if you want to do some team building, because it's really a beautiful thing for corporate to increase productivity, reduce absenteeism, all of those beautiful things, and have people come up with more creative solutions. So people are engaging me there. Long-term care, again, it's not about jokes or comedy. So it's kind of like music. Laughter is like music. So you would hire me or a laughter yoga person to come in and do exercise, like an activation program, a recreation activity. School, same thing. They have special guests come in. Yeah, all kinds of places. I was actually just hired to go into a Holocaust Survivor Center. It's their annual meeting, and kind of wherever you would have a motivational speaker come in and do a short gig, you could do a laughter gig. And as a laughter yoga teacher, I train leaders. I train people so they can do laughter yoga for their work or open a laughter club. Yeah, it just is a wonderful connector, Jackson. It really is. I really would invite everybody to attend. I have about 20 people, I guess, that come up on a regular basis from around the world. So people just tune in because it's not about words. And as the participants, nothing to be done. You don't have to talk. You don't have to introduce yourself. Hopefully your name's there, but it doesn't matter. Just play along, come and learn some tips. I give all kinds of wonderful ways to get out of stress, how to sleep better. If you wake up and can't get back to sleep, here's some simple things, tapping on certain spots. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And just in kind of wrapping it up, you talked about how people join this all over the world. What about, some of your other things when it comes to sprouts and to composting, and then your corporate work? Do you get out of the provinces? Do you come down to the wild South down here?
Yeah. Right now, everything's kind of online. I don't know what's going to happen following this. For sure, I'll travel. I can ship my composters, which is, I don't know if I described it, but it looks like a stool. It's on my website so people can have a look. It's a tower. It's a system. I can ship that, but not the worms. I wouldn't ship the worms to the States or out of country. Same with the sprouter. I can ship the sprouter and beans to the States. And the laughter is, of course, that can go anywhere.
There you go. Well, tell us just a little bit how to find you, how to find these products, and just kind of wrap it up with all those contact points.
Thank you. So Cathy'sComposters.com is my worm website. You can find all of my offerings through that rather than listing all my sites. Mm-hmm. I'm on social media, and I'm all over the place.
Cathy's Composters. And what social media, if you have to pick one outside of your website, where should people connect with you?
For social, I would say Facebook. For the business folks, LinkedIn.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a pleasure. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but I learned a lot about three very big things. I think each individual one of these have some interesting components that we can learn about, and then for you to wrap them all together and put a nice little bow on it, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, thank you, Jackson. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So that was Cathy Nesbitt, just an amazing person. You can hear the energy behind everything she does. She's just got such a passion for all of these different projects, and I think it's really cool. I learned a lot about laughter. I learned a lot about worms. Two things that when I started this podcast I didn't think was going to be a topic that I was going to learn about. Certainly worms, but just it was a cool conversation, and just and learning just how important laughter is to our life and to our wellness. It was a fascinating, eye-opening experience. I don't know whether I could, laugh quite as much as she does. I think that'll take some practice, but I urge you to check her out if you're interested in worm composting, if you're interested in sprouts, if you're interested in laughter yoga. Definitely doesn't hurt to check out that Zoom session that she does each week. No cost there, so there's no harm, and I guess checking it out and laughing, it's something that I want to check out. I did get a sprouter. She was nice enough to send that to me. It's already arrived. It's a really cool system. It's small, able to I guess make those sprouts, and she talked about the health benefits of those too. So I urge you to check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Check her out at Cathy'sComposters.com. Check us out wherever you get your podcast. Please do subscribe and follow or whatever you might do there. Check us out, jacksnuff.com, Not Enough Podcast on Instagram. Appreciate you being here this week. Always glad that you're listening, and we'll see you next week. Take it away, Chris.
This has been Not in a Huff with Jackson Huff. Thank you for listening. Be sure to join us next time, where we will interview another amazing guest who is sure to make you laugh or make you think. Or, hey, maybe even both. But until then, keep being awesome.